Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And sometimes they bring on CEOs and creators of things.
Yes.
And today, as I see on every episode, we've got a great show for you. We've got
Lia Valencia Key. She created Valencia Key jewelry to be wearable reminders to unlock your strength and bravery, radiating your fullest potential. And welcome to the show.
And we're excited to have her on. In fact, we was introduced to her as she spoke at the Jamie Kern Lima Becoming Unstoppable live event.
Yes, that was amazing.
We watched that whole thing that day.
We did.
And when
so excited.
Awesome. And when she came up, we were like, wow, we've got to get her on our show. Her story will blow your mind.
Yes.
So Leah, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so honored, grateful, and excited just to be here and be part of your awesome show.
Thank you. You know what's funny is I never get nervous about this, but we just started using that countdown clock at the beginning.
We did.
And it's weird watching that countdown because then it makes you more nervous.
It does.
Like, oh my goodness.
I'm tapping it.
I'm live.
And we do this, we've done this almost 400 times, but it's just that countdown
just
clock.
Changing
it's like
thing,
puts more emphasis, I guess.
It does.
I like a little nerves. I like something that excites and triggers emotion.
Yes.
Because it makes it matter and it makes it count. When I feel emotion in things, I'm like, okay, I have passion behind it. So it's really going to be good. So that clock is awesome.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine who was a public speaker and he spoke in front of 20,000+ people at a time. And I remember asking him about if he still gets butterflies and nervousness.
Yeah.
And I love what he said. He said, the day I don't is the day I quit.
That's me all the time. The day I'm not nervous, the day I don't have fear. I know a lot of people, we use the word fear because most fear holds us against, it holds us back, it paralyzes us. But if we learn how to really shift and harness that fear, it honestly is a beautiful thing because it keeps you humble. It lets you know that I'm not in control of this. I'm not the best person out here. I may not know how to do this, but I'm going to try to be my best. I'm going to humble myself and learn, and I'm going to put all I can. And it's okay to make mistakes. And so that's how I use fear. So I always want to have that little butterfly in my heart. So, and I want to sometimes worry, like, oh my gosh, am I going to do good? People ask, like, when I say that, they're like, oh, you're going to do good. I'm like, I don't know I'm going to do good. It'll be that one day that I can't bring one word to my mind because we're human, right?
Yeah.
Yes, all human.
Yeah, back at you, Square Table. But yeah, you're so right on this. Even though we've done close to 400 interviews now, I still get nervous before everyone.
Oh, we do.
I still pace by like 30 minutes beforehand. I don't really study a whole lot beforehand because I want it to be raw.
Me too.
I studied just enough to prepare, but I'm the type of person, if I over prepare, that's when I will mess up.
That's me. It's so funny. I'm so glad you brought that up because I then start questioning myself because the norm you hear people is to say, prepare, write your notes, write your speech. Did you go over it 1,000,000 times, right? And that's what you normally hear people say. Put all this work in. You should put the work in. But I feel people, the way we work, we're putting the work in different ways, like in tangible, emotional ways. But if I start to try to methodically plan out every word I say, the reason what I do is always has to be from the heart, right? I have to be from a place of service. I pray, I believe in God, but I want
give the Holy Spirit a chance to work either.
The Holy Spirit, yes. And whoever you pray to or believe in, right? But I believe that I'm guided. So I ask that my heart lead, not my mind. Now there is, and then someone told me, his name is Trey. He does Yay Stack. He's doing this new application service, but He said, but Leah, remember it is a balance. The mind does have to come in because you need to know the basics of what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course.
But then you let your heart lead. And then I find as soon as I just release from here and move to here, oh, the beauty and the power and the way that people are touched is really miraculous. So I always want to be here at all times.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes when we have guests on, the PR companies will ask us for the questions ahead of time. I'm like, well, I can send you questions, but I can't guarantee you that's what we use.
Yeah.
because again, it's whatever comes. Like, we've already started this show that way different than I normally start, because again, I allow it to go where it needs to go.
And that's what we need, because we're doing all of this to serve. It's the number one goal. We're sharing our voice. We're showing up to be of some inspiration or some word of encouragement to some heart that is looking for it that day. And we can't methodically plan that need. We just have to follow what is given through us, through a higher power, to then provide out what someone needs in that moment. And I really do love the beauty of spontaneity. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, because you hear so many people say, I remember watching a motivational speaker on thing, and I disagree with this philosophy, but he says, as long as you're prepared, you won't be nervous. And again, I can't, I got a couple questions and then I let things go. I'm the type that we just got to flow. I want a conversation. We've got to flow with each other. And sometimes it's harder with some guests than others.
Sometimes.
But in most cases, most people, because we interview artists, actors, and all that, so they can usually talk anyway.
Oh
yeah.
So as long as they can talk, we have a conversation. We have a great one. We hit heart points. We hit story points. And I do what I can, because again, I can't just be one of these people that has to go da 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 da. I will. It takes, in fact, I heard a TED talk yesterday, matter of fact, that said professionalism is destroying creativity.
Oh,
really good one.
That's interesting.
And she uses stats. She used a lot of stats in it to talk about how, that the more professional you become, and she really talked about the hiring process, that a lot of people will have somebody in front of them they're hiring, and just because they don't look professional to them, they don't hire them, and they could be the best fit for the job and they don't even see it.
Yes. It's so funny you mentioned that this morning. I was talking and I was writing an email. I write how I speak. So if you ever get an email from me, it is very interesting. A bunch of emojis, all caps, however I speak. And so I decided years ago to free myself from the bondage of how professional email should look, because I was paralyzing myself, right? Grammar and writing is not my strength. I grew up in the inner city of Philadelphia in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods ever. So my schooling was very challenged. So I must admit my strength is not in writing. And I found myself in the early part of my life being bound by that fear and crippled by me scared to write because of my challenges with it, right? And then the moment I freed myself up and said, in the most effort way, I'm going to try to find the incorrect spelling, right? I'm going to try
of course.
I'm going to try my best to allow you to be able to read it. But in that, I decided the way to combat that is to type like I am through words. If I'm yelling all the time, then I'm giving you a cap. At first you may think I'm yelling and offend you, but then the fifth or sixth time you get my email, you're like, oh my God, she's always excited. You know what I mean? It's just freeing for me, and then it's freeing for others to then take me out of the box that they would normally put other people in, and just truly accept me for me. And so I encourage everyone who's listening, shake out of those bondage boxes of norms that society is parametering us around. There are some things that we can do that help us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
there are some things that we're boxing ourselves in. And like you said, which is preventing us from our greatness. And the goal is to walk into your greatness every day of your life. And that's when you break the change of what someone told you you should be or act or say, you know?
You know, that's just like I'm part of a podcast group, and there's always this argument back and forth with people in this group where you got one side extreme that thinks that you got to have these great mics, you got to have all this, you got everything's got to be perfect or don't do the show. And then you got the other side argues with that, says no, just do it. You know, and then you'll learn as you go. And I'm on that side. But I remember I got to thinking about this, and I was telling Cindy about this earlier. I was like, you know, the dilemma with that. You know, they edit everything out of their podcast to make them sound polished. Well, here's one of the problems. What if you get hired to speak, and all of a sudden they hear you on a podcast?
Yes.
Now you go speak, and they're like, "Oh,
expect the same level.
That's not the same person that
Right.
I've been listening to, because they edit all the little bits out." Well, we're a raw show. You get, you know, basically we don't edit here, and you get us. So if somebody hires us, they will know what they're getting.
They know what they're getting. I love that. I think that's so freeing. You know, the beauty is, I guess both ways serve you, because what I realized is there are so many different type of people and personalities in the world, right? And we try to make everyone be a certain way or a certain personality, and that's where we struggle, instead of embracing everyone's strength. Some people are methodical. They have to be perfect. They will edit that out. So when they go to real speech engagement, they will make sure that they get to the editing thing. That is miraculous. I honor them. I want them in my life because they make me better. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's some people like us where we're like, no, the beauty of us is the difference. The beauty of us is the epically thing. You're like, oh, did I do that? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? The beauty of us is that rawness and that openness, because I think people need to see all of that. They need to see the perfectionist so they can work on being better, but then they need to see these people that are in their most imperfectly perfect way, so that they know that they can embrace themselves just the way they are and still do it anyway. I'm truly from the school of do it.
Yep.
Do it, not being prepared. Do it. Of course, you do a little research, just a little bit, just to get yourself understanding, like know what you're talking about. But don't wait for you to have all the tools. Don't wait for someone or the numbers to lead up for you to say that you're great. You're great right now. When you start, you're great. And the only thing you can do, honestly, is get better every time you do something. And that is beautiful when you live in that way.
Yep. And, you know, that's how we were, because 2019, when, you know, we knew we wanted to launch this show, and we never launched because I kept saying we can't be perfect, we can't be this, we can't be that. So finally, at the end of 2019, I remember telling Sandy, you know what, we're going to launch. And I knew that I'm a procrastinator at heart. I knew that.
Me too.
So what
we're sister and brother, clearly.
So what I did was, my mom passed away years ago, about 6 months after we married. We've been married 18 years now, but she passed away 6 months after we did. But her birthday was January 3rd. So I told Sandy, I was like, you know what? We're going to do our first show January 3rd, 2020, and honor my mom in the process. And I knew if I did that, I could not back away.
Right. I love it.
And that was the launch of our first show. And here it is now. We're almost 400 episodes later.
Yes. Wow. That's just, it's encouraging and inspiring in itself. And I love you honoring your mother, creating your due through reverencing someone else, because sometimes we can't do it for ourselves. You know, sometimes we can't. We want to, like with my dieting, I want to do it for myself, but haven't quite got there yet. But when it's to speak and touch a heart, because I know, A, I told someone I was going to do it, and B, that there's a possible heart that needs to hear something I have to say, I show up. And so it is really beautiful. Thank you for calling that out. Like, maybe you can't do it for yourself, but who can you do it for?
Yeah,
Because
that's like,
you want to do it.
Yep,
Right?
exactly. And that's like you see people on Facebook where they talk about if you're going to quit drinking, then you can't do it for someone else. And I cringe when I see that because that can be the start. I remember I went through 19 years of addictions, and the first 5 years of our marriage was really hectic on her because of those addictions. But she never nagged me, put me down, or anything. She loved me through the addictions. I remember sometimes people will tell, oh, she let you walk over her. Like, no, she allowed me to experience God's pure love through her. I don't believe I would be here if she didn't do that. But fast forward, talking about the addictions, I wanted so bad to be healed from that. And I asked God to heal me, not because I wanted to be healed, because I knew she deserved better.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful, and a great way of thinking. It actually helps shift my mindset because, you always trying to do it for yourself. Like, do it for yourself, but sometimes you can't show up for yourself, but who can you show up for? And then what you're saying is when you show up for someone else, it then kicks you into gear to show up for yourself. Because the desire for you is already there. You're serving yourself regardless, right? Because you want to do it. But now you just need something, a little fuel in your gas tank to get the motor started to show up for you. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful thing.
That's like, I remember hearing a motivational speaker say this, and I've loved this. He says, your first name is about you, but your last name is about legacy.
Ooh.
And speaking of that, let's go there a little bit about you.
Oh, that was a nice little segue moment. Thank you. Yes, I think that's actually amazing. It's funny you say that because I created Valencia Key Jewelry, and I would, my journey, I briefly talked about where the humble beginnings I started from, but I love how you share what you've been through in your life and how you're sitting here with us today. And that's my purpose on life, to share what I've been through and consistently go through. And part of that was homelessness with my mother. I self-diagnosed that she was paralyzed by fear. To get out of these bondage and society stereotypes, I believe, bound her in this way. Yes, she couldn't get out of the stereotypes that were placed on her because of where we were born into, right? But she knew that there was something greater within here. And the power that she had was her mouth, and she would speak these words of greatness into her children.
Wow.
And it was beautiful because there was a moment where she bad went to worse, like life can get, we know, right? And she broke her leg in 3 places. And from that moment, we went from poverty to destitute, meaning we lost everything we had. And we wound up in a homeless shelter, a mother with 3 children and nothing, nowhere to go, nothing. And I'm super young. I like the third person and say little Lia. So little Lia was seeing all this struggle and this pain and this anger and violence all around me. And I started to follow that because I didn't know any better. But there goes my mother. She wasn't able to kick out of herself, right? But like you said, show up for others. She was able to show up for her children in the form of words. And she told us that your predicament does not determine your destiny.
Yeah,
that's right.
We may be right here, but this does not have to be your destiny. She also says you may be in it, but you are not of it. I get emotional thinking about it because someone right now may be in something. That's not who you are.
Yeah.
Because God told you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
God whispers in your heart, in your spirit, in your mind who you are, which is counterintuitive of what you see around you. So it's conflicting to you, right?
It is, yes.
So I love having these words of starting with my mother, but then shows like yours that we can speak these words into someone else's life and say, wherever you are, you may be in it, but you aren't of it, and you can you can decide your destiny. So I didn't get that initially. It takes one person.
Even God said that you got to be in the world, but don't be of the world.
Yes, you may be in the world, not of the world. That's exactly. And I thought it was crazy because she would never let us go and play with the children in a homeless shelter or go outside when we had to move to a housing project, because it was nothing but violence and nothing but negativity. We didn't get that as a young child, but she wanted to protect us from that world, right? And
especially the mental.
Yeah, it's all meant, because everything starts here, right?
It does.
And she knew it started here, so she would pour into us in our minds what she wanted us to get, because she couldn't get us out of the environment. Powerful to me. And so I'm still being little Leah, being a young person, not getting that predicament concept yet. And so I'm failing in school. And she then one day I come and she stops me. She meets me right at the door and she says, Leah, do you want to be, I love sharing this because it's so powerful. Do you want to be a follower or do you want to be a leader? And I'm in like 5th grade, to give you perspective, young, and I'm clueless on what she's saying. And so she continues and she says, right now you are following. You are following the environment that you're in and that you see. And guess what, Leah? You're going to be exactly what you see because that's what you're following. Or you can lead. You can lead your life, not anybody else's life. You can lead your life to the destiny that you choose. You can choose to find the light. You can choose to find a situation outside of where we are if you decide to lead your life. And she left it there. Wow. And I like to say that was the light that opened truly my life at such a young age, because before that, I didn't know I had the power of choice. I just thought, you see it, you do it. That's what we do around here, right? We act up, we don't do right things. But then when my mother said that I could be something different and all I had to do was choose, I just started to choose. I chose school. I chose education. I started to follow the light. I actually say I start to choose my life and choose joy and choose light. And from that moment, my mother then saw that I started to sparkle because I got on honor roll. I was excelling, first person in college to only go to college. Like, things really still challenges, but through those challenges, things just start to light up in my path through choice. And so then my mother said, oh, you are sparkling now. This is before she passed. I lost my mother also at a young age. Oh, wow. This is right before she passed. She said, ooh, Leah, I see it. I see it. You are sparkling. You have so much light inside of you. And she gave me these little cheap earrings. And she said, always wear your earrings because these are symbols of the greatest light that you have inside of you. And I just thought that was so, it just clicked on the parallel and the power of symbolism.
Yes.
That you can wear on your body to remember, because after that, my mother passed. And so you may lose great people in your life. The people that you talk to you can't ask them for guidance, but you can have these beautiful wearable symbols that remind you of the greatness inside. So I kept pushing my journey. And then I really decided, I really got around a lot of beautiful, awesome women and men and people that were doing great things. So I'd love to say that your surroundings, who you decide to surround yourself around, is a heavy impact of where you can go in life.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with what they can do for you. Please do not try to become a friend to someone.
Again, it's a mental thing.
Absolutely. They don't need to do anything for you. Actually, please don't want anything from them. But the power of being around some great-minded people will catapult you in the most miraculous way because you just absorb how they work. They are
Mm.
passionate, they're doers, they fall, they get back up. The joy is in the detail. They dream big things and then they walk toward their dreams. And then you
And the big
realize
thing is they do, because a
they
lot of times,
do.
you got people that will, we don't have an iPhone, so we're not on Clubhouse. But
I
I
don't have an
watch
iPhone
people.
either. You
But I
don't have
watch people. I watch so many people on Facebook spend hours and hours and hours on there, and I'm like, you know what? Clubhouse has become another procrastinator's dream. All it's
Oh,
done is filled people up with information constipation. And
oh,
until they actually go act, Clubhouse won't even make a difference for their life. And that's what's happening. It's become another just place to go, oh, I'm doing something for me. Look, and they're just listening, but you're not. I would rather have ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice.
what? That is amazing. That is exactly how I believe. I believe, you gotta. I always say I love Nike's slogan. I take
Just do it.
slogans to heart, right? And I say them in my head. Nike, just do it. I always say it to my like just do it. It doesn't matter the outcome. It doesn't matter what people think about you. It doesn't matter what the results are, what the numbers say. Just do it. Don't read too much about it. Like read later. Do first. You know what I mean? Figure it out. And I think that is really powerful. Like what you're saying, if you surround yourself with doers, then you will do. And I start to, just by the nature of choosing life and joy for myself, life and joy and people start to surround me. Jamie Kern Lima, founder of It Cosmetics, Tatcha, Vicky Sai, founder of Tatcha, but to name so many people, I have so many hearts.
And you've been
That
on QVC now, haven't you?
QVC, I've been able to launch last year on QVC, my jewelry, because I was around these beautiful hearts that were doing great things and they showed me that all things were possible. So I realized I had been hand sketching these jewelry designs as an homage to my mother, of showing me how jewelry can be this symbolism of light and greatness. And then when I saw these beautiful lights giving a gift to the world in different forms, and if you have a passion and if you have something to give, it becomes life changing when you give it to someone. So then I decided I am going to jump and start my jewelry line called Valencia Key.
Wow.
And Valencia actually means brave. And this is the name my mother gave me, which parallels back to what we were talking about, getting teary-eyed, because Valencia is my middle name. It means brave, and Key, my last name, means to unlock. And so the mission of Valencia Key Jewelry is to be these wearable, tangible, visual pieces that help you to unlock the bravery, unlock the light, unlock the joy, unlock the perseverance. Because when you stretch your hands out and see it, there are tangible results that all things are possible. Because if I can come from the most poverty-stricken neighborhood to where society says I should be so many horrible places, but not here on this show, for you to be tangibly wearing my jewelry, if I can, you all definitely can. And it's these wearable reminders that you've got this and you can do it, because here's the results and the proof. And so I'm just so grateful to have that opportunity to use my journey and use my learnings to inspire others, because I feel that we're all destined for all of our dreams to come true.
And that's how we feel with our show. We want to, To be honest, in most people's eyes, we should not be. I mean, we still struggle financially and all that.
Yeah, we have side
We have
jobs.
side jobs to keep us afloat.
I have a
And,
main job to keep me afloat.
and,
I'm still working fully.
and you know, and so in most people's eyes, if they seen how we really live, they would be
Yes.
like, "There's no way you could do what we do," but yet we're doing it. And I mean, it's funny because we deliver food in the evenings.
Yeah.
So there are times where, like, I remember we were driving, delivering a food. I was like, "Can you believe tomorrow we've got Randy Travis coming on our show?"
Yes,
While we're out delivering. And then
Wow.
recently we had the former CEO of Chipotle come on.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here like, what in the world is going? I mean, we've had Sarah Evans come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've had so many great people come on.
Ed Asner.
Ed Asner, the big actor there.
Wow.
And
amazing.
And it's been just amazing. And we just want our show to be where when we tell our story of me going through 19 years of addictions, her sticking with me at the beginning, us being married. You know, we met online in 2002 when it was taboo. And 16 days later we were engaged. 7 months later, and then 8 months later we were married. So, and here it is, 18. Yeah. So when we tell our story, we just want people to understand if we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this.
We know you can. There's no excuses.
Yes.
And the more we do this in different forms, like you and your TV show, me through my jewelry, someone else through whatever they do, we are collectively rising the human race to their greatness and shattering bondages, shattering stereotypes, shattering the society norms that so many of us are bound with. And I think it's so healing when we can stand up and say, here's our story, shatter that false thing that someone told you to be true in your life.
And I remember listening to Steve Harvey. He talked about that. You're talking about shatter. Made me think of this. He said that T.D. Jakes told him that before you go to a new level in life, there's going to be a glass ceiling. Ooh. And a glass ceiling is so you can see through it. So you can see where you want to go, but you've got to shatter that glass. And when you shatter that glass, there's going to be bloodshed. Ooh. There's going to be people around you that may not like where you're going. There's going to be other obstacles, but there's going to be bloodshed, but that's the only way to go to that next level.
And I love that because I'm like you, people see me on these platforms, but I love to be real raw and say I am the super baby startup. My friends are helping me pack boxes. I have one other person helping pack boxes. I'm in here packing the boxes myself. I am your customer service. I am your web designer. I am marketing. I am everything, and I work my full-time.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And so, that is a lot.
It's a lot, but it's worth it because, and so when people say, well, how do I do what I want to do? You better have some passion and a why behind it. And I know we throw that out a lot, but if someone really takes that to the core, I created this collection called Rooted, and it's a root texture, because I found myself coming against all of these obstacles, right? And all these challenges. And I found myself being swayed, but I always found myself standing back up strong. And I'm like, how is that possible? And I said, oh, it's because when I was younger, I defined, and every day till now, I define what I'm rooted in. I'm rooted in love. I'm rooted in joy. I'm rooted in perseverance.
And it all prepared you for this moment.
And those are preparing for these moments. And I'm rooted in sharing the message of my journey to help bring someone along to where they can be. So if I'm rooted in that, it doesn't matter what the storms are doing. because my
Mhm.
roots are so deep. I may sway and waver and say I'm going to give up a million times, but at the end of the day, I'm going to stand back up and do the service that I said I was going to do through Valencia Key jewelry. So
And
I really love people to define what you're rooted in.
uh, and you know what's
Mhm.
funny about that is I remember in our 18 years of marriage, Sandy and I would be out and about, and I'd end up in a conversation with people, and I'm talking strangers, not people I know. And Sandy would know if I get at least a little deep in 2, 3 minutes, we're there 30, 60 minutes. It's a given. We're going to
Oh
be
yeah.
there. Sometimes she used to roll her eyes and all that. She'd get really mad. and, and
Go,
and
well.
she's like, "We need to go." But I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept
Mhm.
doing it. And what's funny about it, we kind of laugh about it now. We did this thousands of times. Had no
Mhm.
idea that one day we would be holding conversations on a show for 30 to 60 minutes at a time.
Oh yeah.
Wow. God is preparing you for what is to come. And that's everything in life, even in the struggle, right? Like it's the mindset. It all is here.
Yep.
Even when we
Mhm.
go through these really hard, challenging times, how are you going to process that hardship? Because that's what makes the difference in life, right? I lost my mother. I lost my grandmother. I lost my aunt. These three women that
Wow.
raised me,
Oh
that were
wow.
my pillars, all in a short amount of time.
Mm.
Someone says I
Mhm.
shouldn't be standing. I should be
Mhm.
depressed. I should not have
Yeah.
light around me. But it's all in the shift of the mind, because what I decided to say was, wow, God, thank you for these three pillars in my life. And they poured so much greatness in me. My job is to radiate their light to the world.
Wow.
Mhm.
My duty is to not sink, but to rise, because that's what they poured into me. And that's my mind shift list. So you can decide to say, oh God, why did I lose all the people in my life? I have nothing anymore. Mindset.
Yep.
Or
Oh yes.
my duty is to rise because that's what they poured into me.
Yes. Oh, I
Second
love that.
mindset, right? Which mindset do you want? You're the same human being. You just choose the path that you decide you want to ride on. And so I say, in every journey, look at the two differences in mindsets that you can take from that hardship, and then decide the one that has the most light and the most greatness and the most joy and possibility, even through the pain, and push towards that one. Because not only will you heal yourself, you'll heal so many other people around you.
Yeah, and my mindset over the years has changed where I used to be one of the people that believed you do whatever you need to just make money.
Yeah.
And then down the road you can live your passion. I actually disagree with that now. I used to preach that, but now I
Mm.
realize I've got so many friends that were in that mode where they postpone their passion so they could make the money first, and now they're
Mhm.
dead before
Yes.
they get to the passion. It's like, you know what, like the book, Success to Significance. So many people are trying to live that. I'm like, what if God wants you to go from significance to success?
Ooh-wee.
Because
And I'm
again,
adding to that. The truth is, you're already significant. So
mhm,
the truth
Mhm.
is, right, we're looking for the significance.
plant where you are.
Right? Exactly. We're looking for the success right now, but tangibly, if you decide that you're great, even if the money doesn't say it,
Mhm.
even if your
Mhm.
surroundings
They're
don't
still
say
great.
it, if you stand up and say, I'm great, you've got to become great, because you're walking in your greatness, and you don't have to wait for someone to tell you you're great. You can choose to be great, and then you find ways to be great. But what we
Mhm.
also try to do is follow what other people want us to be and do.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
then
Wear that mask.
Oh yes.
that's where we never win. We never, you may make all the money in the world, but you've never become truly successful at heart, because you're
Yeah,
always trying to trace what someone else told you to be.
that's like a
And
lot of people with marriage. They believe that marriage should be done a certain way. Well,
yeah.
I had this belief before I met her. I had this belief that I wanted this utopia type marriage where we were together 24/7 to build a legacy together. So I actually felt like God told me my wife was online and he would lead me to her. And so my deal breaker, and people got mad at me for this, but my deal breaker was I would ask women, if it were possible, and I wasn't saying you had to, I was saying, if it were possible, would you consider living a 24/7 marriage to build a legacy together? And I got called all kinds of names until she comes along and she says, I've never heard of that kind of marriage, but if that were even remotely possible, that would be amazing. And here we are. We have lived that 24/7 marriage since day one.
Wow. You know why? That's so beautiful, because you know what your joy is. You know what's good for you. And it is out there. A lot of people are going to tell you it's not out there. So then we put our desires to the shelf, right? Someone's going to tell you, oh, that's a crazy idea. No one's going to do a 24-hour thing. But Sandy was out there waiting for you. But if you had have not listened to your inner heart and stayed true to what you knew to be true for your life, you wouldn't have met beautiful Sandy. So I would encourage that people really start knowing that whatever is inside of here is really what's meant for you. So stay true to that, stay on course to that. And if you stay in that path, you will find your people, you will find your tribe, you will find your light, you will find your joy. The way you lose course, the way you lose happiness, is start dividing yourself from what other people are saying and trying to follow others instead of leading your own life.
Yep, amen. And speaking of family, we've got a third co-host, our 9-year-old, that we bring on to ask a question before we end this.
Yes, his name's Christopher. I will get him.
And we've got a 2-year-old little daughter that when she gets older, we'll be plugging her into our shows too.
I love it.
We are a family affair.
I love the babies. This is exciting. I love our mindset, and it's not right or it's not wrong, but it's a way of thinking. And someone needs to hear it because they know these things to be true too. And it's just powerful when you hear people sync up to what your vision and heart is saying to be true too. It's just confirmation. I love confirmation.
Most definitely. Because again, I never know where the show is going to go. I mean, I didn't hit nothing that I had down, but you know what? I actually love it when that happens, because then it becomes a different show.
Yes, exactly.
Because again, the title is Up Close and Personal, because that's what we want. We want a show to where we get up close and personal. And I remember we had a guy come on the show who is a singer, and I remember him saying, I think he thought we were getting too personal, and he's like, I like to stick to music. And I said, do you even know what our tagline is called? He says, no. I was like, Up Close and Personal. And he was like, oh. And then he thought about it, and he says, you know what? I think I've actually opened up more on your show than I ever have on any other show. I was like, see, that's our point.
I love that. Hi.
Hi, Leah. So what's your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite foods. I love this question. I love salmon. I may be pronouncing that wrong. I love shrimp and spinach. Isn't that weird? But spinach is one of my favorites.
And what's yours?
Pizza.
Oh, people love pizza. I will eat a good pizza, so I can try to do that.
Okay, next question.
All right, what's your favorite TV show?
Oh gosh. Okay, so lately I've been watching so much TV. It's so bad. And favorite? Let me try to pick one. Well, this is one of my favorites, and it just came to my top mind. It's called Bridgerton. It's on Netflix. It was so good. What's your favorite?
Mine is SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob. First of all, he's yellow. So if I love SpongeBob.
And you know what's funny is, well, what's been cool is, he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows, and we've been able to bring on a lot of people from Nickelodeon onto our show. So he's been able to
Oh,
talk to a lot of people that he watches,
wow.
and he
You
loves
have
that.
such a cool opportunity.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks.
Oh, bye. I love your shirt.
Thanks.
And what's cool about this too, because we bring on actors too, we actually have next week coming on the actress that played the most probably evil woman ever on a soap history, Sheila Carter on Young and the Restless.
Wow. Oh, the Young and the Restless. I remember
Yeah,
the Young and the Restless.
yes.
Yeah.
If you remember Sheila Carter, she the actress that plays her is Kimberlyn Brown, and
Yes.
she's coming on our show next week. So we're again, this is
Wow.
we're just sitting here like we can't believe this
We
is our
can't believe
show.
it.
We
We're
got
like,
people like you come on. We got people like Kimberlyn, Randy
yes,
Travis, and
all
we're just sitting here
we've
like
got to done to
and
do.
and we're just sitting here like we get to do this. We're just so
It's
excited.
amazing.
Thank you all for living out your purpose and your dream. Thank you for shattering those glass ceilings. And I'm just grateful that you all saw my light and wanted
yeah.
me to be a part of your greatness, because this is so fun. I'm like loving everything we talk about.
And what's bad about it is because we do have a 3 p.m. Another interview.
Yes.
I could talk all day long, but
Me
because
too.
of that,
he can.
we have to close it out. So if you want to say any final parting words and how people can reach out to you.
Please do.
Yes. Thank you again for everyone watching and listening. I appreciate your heart, for allowing my heart to pour in your heart. Thank you, Chris and Sandy, for being so kind and being so awesome. And I'd love for you to visit valenciakey.com. It's my website. First, just put your email in and sign up in the joy. Just stay connected with me, because I like sending words of inspiration and encouragement. To me, it's a joy thing and it's a love thing. So it's not just this, it's not sales, it's community. And I want to stay connected in that community.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to one day wear Valencia Key jewelry, because I believe when we wear these symbols and we are radiating towards our greatness, like you all are saying, like you're just deciding to do it. And then you have these symbols of Valencia Key. My job is for one day you just to be wearing this symbol and someone looks at it and says, oh, they're inspiring me that it's possible.
Wow.
Oh, I
Love
see
that.
them radiating their light. And she's telling me if she can be standing where she is, or he can be sitting where he is, then I can too. So that's my job and journey, to like bring people along with us. But I'm also on Instagram. I love Instagram, social media. Follow me on 2 places. One is where my jewelry lives. I love showing every woman, every man, everybody wearing Valencia Key jewelry and having words of inspiration with it. And that's at Valencia Key Design. And then if you want to learn a little bit about my life and where Lia goes in the world, it's at Lia Valencia Key. So follow me everywhere. And I just love for us to stay connected. We inspire each other.
We love that. And we really enjoyed having you on the show today. We definitely look forward to having you back.
Absolutely. Count me in.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Y'all have a great day.
Thanks so much for your